So I recently asked you guys who's the next character you want to see me talk about on the Batmaning of. I put out a poll on the community post, and more than half of the votes went towards this guy. So guess what? We're talking about Superboy Prime. Please don't hate me for this one. That's right, everyone. The Batmaning of is back. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos, maybe this is the one you wanted to check out, like, oh, this guy wants to pitch a movie for Superboy Prime? That's exactly what I'm doing here. The Batmaning of is a series of videos where I take the extended DC universe and propose a movie for them in the stylings of the Batman, one of the greatest superhero movies of the past decade that completely understood how to make that character special. We have strictly done superheroes so far, but this time around we are venturing into the world of villains, hero-ish, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Superboy Prime is one of those characters in comic books that when you explain it to somebody who doesn't understand comic books, you sound like an insane person. It's one of those things where like, wow, this is really cool if you are insider baseball, but if you are somebody who casually reads comics or knows nothing about it, you try describing Superboy Prime to any of those people. So in the pre-crisis thing, he was this, and this was a part of it, but then he's from this place called Earth Prime, and he was connected to like this person. It's like a world where these heroes are there, but it's like, slow down a minute. What is that? Like, you cannot explain that to anybody who doesn't understand comic books. And that is something I kind of cherish. I like a character that is permanently comic books, kind of in the vein of somebody just like the Tick. I know that's weird to say, but like you look at like the Tick and Spawn and all those like early 90s guys where it's like they kind of only exist in like the bubble of the people that know them. Superboy Prime's kind of like that too, where he's a character that is just interesting enough to follow, but he's not somebody you're going to actively know a lot about. He's just like shows up to do the thing. He shows up to be a villain, shows up to be the comic book character. That's all you need him to do. And I think there's something inherently cool about that. It's just a simple guy doing a simple story, and that's kind of exciting to see. I think he's a fascinating character because it is kind of done in a way that is a commentary on us as the viewer and the reader. And I think that's something I really wanted to zone into. Now, of course, there are kind of a few interpretations of this character. Different writers and different creators have really said this is what he represents. You see where he originally starts out being this version of the superhero, and it's like, I was kind of trapped in this weird world, here I am to ruin your life. And then he's kind of like, I'm from this weird world, here I am to ruin your life. And I think that is such a weird story that could be told, and I want to play with that a little bit. So personally, I don't really have any major connections to Superboy Prime. I was just coming up with the topic for this show, and I remember just being like, I want to kind of like pitch something, well, two things actually. I kind of want to pitch two things that I think this character could be. And the first thing I want to pitch is like, if we were to essentially MCUify the DC universe, I think Superboy Prime should represent the Thanos character. A lot of people think it should be Darkseid. A lot of people think it should be like Lex or somebody. I think it should be Superboy Prime because there's this like inherent need to show the heroes why they are shit, you know, where this guy's just like, I'm going to be an overarching villain. Like, I understand the world. I could be a villain towards any of you. And I think that's kind of cool. So I'm like, he could essentially be the greatest villain of a DCEU if you were in the proper hands to make him, you know, an asshole. And the thing is, like, if you don't want to do Darkseid, why not do this character who kind of starts off in this heroic setting, in a sense, moves over here to be this one thing. I think that's something we should kind of play with and do some more fun stuff with. And that being said, that's not the movie I'm here to pitch you today. I'm not here to pitch you like, here is Superboy Prime showing up being the Thanos in an Infinity War level event. That's not what I'm doing. Today I am here to pitch you just a straight up Superboy Prime story. And here's the thing I really want to drive home when it comes to this. There's a couple origins for this character. I'm sticking to the one where he is from a place called Earth Prime. His name is Clark Kent. I want to stick to that kind of an origin. So when you have that being the case, you are obviously going to have to play with a meta narrative. You're just going to have to play with it. So I don't even think we should bury the lead here. You know, sometimes I talk about my connection, previous interpretations. There is none and I have no connection. I just want to jump into the meta story that will be the Superboy Prime movie. So in the vein that Chinatown is the Batman, and other interpretations of stories, the Italian Job's my Flash movie, Errol Flynn is my Green Arrow, I am going to make Superboy Prime the Joker meets Redditors. And I know what you're saying, like, you're toying with fire here, buddy. What are you talking about? Here is my premise for a Superboy Prime movie, okay? Let's get into it. It takes place in our world, in the real world of some aspect, where the characters of the DC universe at large are presented to this Clark in comic books. He is an avid fan of comic books. He loves reading about these heroes. He enjoys them so much. He loves them. He considers himself like a true fan of the classics. He reads the Golden Age and the Silver Age. He goes back and understands these characters from their origin to the point they are now. He has his favorite versions, the ones that he looks at and he goes, this is where Superman should be. This is the kind of character Batman should be. This is the kind of thing that all of these heroes could be. His parents are like, we like them. You're Clark Kent. That is who you are. You are essentially Superman, and we love you for that. But the thing is, because we're in the real world, people know Clark Kent is Superboy. Or they know Clark Kent is Superman, I should say. So in this world, this version of Clark, he gets picked on for being a comic book nerd. In this reality, there is movies based on these characters, but these are such, like dark, brooding, Zack Snyder, Frank Miller-esque stories, and you just see that this Clark doesn't like that interpretation. In fact, he goes to online forums and sees people praising these, but he's like, no, that's not my character. That is not how Superman's supposed to act. Superman would never do those things. That makes no sense to me. I do not like the way that's going. That's so dumb. Why is Batman doing that? Batman shouldn't have guns. Wonder Woman shouldn't be cutting people's heads off. This is really stupid. And he is this angry guy who's just so vocal about his passionate nature towards these interpretations of the characters. He'll call out bullies at school for wearing a Superman shirt but not acting like Superman. He is just so engrossed in like this classic idea of the world that he doesn't believe these characters could be anything less than what he thinks them to be. He is the worst type of fan. He is a toxic fan who tells you this is the way or the highway. There's no room for interpretation. If they're going to reboot his favorite character, why does the reboot have to be a girl? Why does the reboot have to be a black man? Why did all these things have to happen? He wants his superheroes to stay a certain way. He does not like the idea of these new rebooted heroes coming out. He just wants his characters to be this thing. You have that incredibly passionate fan makes it a society that is telling him he's a loser, and suddenly you have this kid who's angry at the world and looks at people like the Joker as inspiration. There's a Joker movie in this world. He's like, I understand this guy so well, and he sees this dark interpretation of Superman in his world. He's like, I don't like that. Why am I feeling all these conflicting emotions? Well, here's what happens to our Clark Kent. One day, a portal opens up, and he's like, what? And his superheroes, his heroes from his comic books come into his world. And this is where he realizes, oh shit, I am not just named Clark Kent. I am actually the Clark Kent of this world. I am actually a Superboy of this world. And he starts to realize, I could be a hero too. Look guys, I'm the Clark Kent here. I'm just like you, Superman, an interpretation of Superman who comes to this world. But what we see happen is that this is not the regular Superman that he thinks from the Golden Age. This is a Superman trying to stop a crisis event, but he can't. And in the process, meeting these new heroes awakens the meta gene or the powers inside of this Clark Kent. And as he is seeing his heroes from his comic books fight to save his world, they fail. And then this is where he realizes, oh, these aren't the heroes from my comic book. Because in my comic books, these heroes don't fail. They save the day. They defeat the bad guy. Why didn't these heroes do it? Why did they fail? And his planet is destroyed because of it. And all that's left is this one powerful kid in the wake of this destruction realizing these heroes aren't anything. They are liars. They are pretenders. They are these dark conceptions of themselves. I am a fan who knows how to gatekeep these characters. This is not how the characters should go. This is not how the story goes. Why are they doing this? Why did this happen? And suddenly, mixed with this anger he has from the real world and this idea in his head of what these characters should be, he births the identity of Superboy Prime. He suddenly is like, I am going to go across the multiverse and show these superheroes how they should behave through force. He's essentially going to become this angry, toxic fandom villain, gatekeeping his way through the galaxy, just telling these people, no, this isn't right. This is not how you behave, Superman. This is stupid. I'm the Prime Superboy. I'm showing you this is how you're supposed to behave. Gatekeeping everybody across the universe, just being the worst type of fan, showing you why. It is almost meta in the sense of like, man, fans really do need to control these characters in an essence, but it's also like, you really think this is the interpretation that's healthy? Because this is how most fans would react if they were in this world. And that's really what I want to hone into. You're seeing a guy who's a fan of this world suddenly becoming the main antagonist in this world. He's like, I know what you're supposed to be. I know everything about you. You ruined my reality because you are not what I thought you would be, and now I'm going to show you why you're a piece of shit. That's what I want to get across here through this angsty, angry guy just yelling at everybody. Just seeing like, I am the best at this. Look at this. This is you. This is what you're supposed to be. Why aren't you this? And thus, the villain is born. It's kind of funny, it's kind of silly, it's kind of meta. It's also kind of gatekeepy and shines the light on the wrong type of fans, you know? Those ones on Reddit saying this is not how Batman acts, or the ones who are like, this is just purely Batman machismo. Let's shine a light at them and make fun of them for a minute. Now, of course, when we are casting our little Superboy Prime here, you have to find the right essence of asshole and schmarmy looking. I think I found a guy that's doing okay here. Don't know much about him, but my choice was Tanner Buchanan. Something about this face, I don't know what it is, just screams, I know what's better for Superman than you do. I thought he'd be a good choice. And when trying to find a director for a movie like this, how do you find somebody? I went to the Rogues of the Boys, and I found a woman named Liz Friedlander, and she has done some previous works on other big budgeted shows. I think she could definitely shine a different light on this than if it was just like a Todd Phillips type. I don't want this to be like we're seeing the downfall of this guy. I want it to be like he is so arrogant in his understanding of this world and the anger he feels from what happened to him. Okay, I'm going to show you how to be a hero by being the villain, and that is how the worst fan in the history of the DC universe becomes the lead in his own toxic movie. That is the Superboy Prime movie. Go buy your tickets now. Let's get this going. I really like this pitch. I knew from the get-go I had to do this one. You can make this guy the greatest villain of the DC universe just by showing how terrible a fan you are, the viewer, for thinking certain things. I loved this one. Thank you for choosing this one. I had so much fun talking about it now. Thank you guys for watching this rendition of the Batmaning of. Please let me know what other characters you'd like to see me talk about. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.